Firewatch is one of my most anticipated games of 2016, and I can safely say that it has at the very least lived up to my personal hype. But are you going to find enlightenment in the woods of Wyoming, or are you just going to be eaten by a cave full of bears? Let's check it out. Firewatch casts you as Henry, a tubby, bearded everyman who has taken a summer job as a fire lookout in the Shoshone National Forest to escape from, well, you probably want to find that out for yourself. Once you arrive, the idyllic environment and breezy walkie-talkie chats with your supervisor Delilah quickly take on a more sinister tone, with a plot that managed to subvert my expectations every time I thought I had it figured out. Again, I don't want to spoil any of the details, not necessarily because it's the kind of story that can be undone by spoilers, but because I want you to experience it for yourself. You specifically. You know who you are. The story at the heart of Firewatch leans heavily on the player forming a strong emotional connection with the protagonist, and to do this, the game opens with a text adventure comprising some key events in Henry's life. These are the everyday events that led up to the crisis that makes the forests of Wyoming seem like a welcome respite. Despite the minimalism of this opening sequence, it's infused with genuine pathos and sets the tone for the rest of the narrative. Decisions I made in those early minutes haunted me and kept me second-guessing right to the end, which I suspect was the author's intention. Having put you in the sort of glum mindset of Henry, the game uses expressive first-person animation to physically place you in his actually there when you look down shoes. Most objects in the game can be picked up, manipulated, or commented on, though I would have appreciated a little more interaction beyond the verbs grab and wiggle about. The only person Henry directly interacts with initially is Delilah, his chatty supervisor in the next tower over. Initially, Henry is reluctant to talk to this surprisingly forward stranger, but her persistence and sense of humor make her an irresistible companion, and you're likely to develop a strong rapport. Firewatch has a real-time conversation system based on player observation and Delilah's own interjections, with unique permutations based on past interactions, and it's backed up by an excellent script and superb performances. It asks you to keep up with the dialogue while navigating the environment, splitting your attention in a way that can lead to some interesting developments. There's too much going on for you to be able to play out a character type from the outset, at least the first time around, and you may be surprised by where your gut instincts take you. I didn't think I'd angrily throw a bunch of teen vandals' boombox into a river to teach them a lesson, but here we are. The opening of the game uses repetition and routine to build out Firewatch's world. Days begin relatively the same way, and early on you're mostly concerned with orienteering and getting to know your boss. It seems like it's going to have an indulgent, gentle pace, so I was confused by the game suddenly jumping ahead from day 3 to something like day 77 to get to the meat of the story. Doing so means that Henry becomes more familiar with his environment at a much faster pace than the player does. It's the one narrative mistake that I find really jarring. By skipping over the earlier parts of the story, of Henry becoming accustomed to his life out on the Shoshone, the player never really gets to truly experience the tonal shift at the same pace as the protagonist. I understand the practical reasons behind it, as Campo Santo are a small studio and can only make so much game, but it's a decision that works against their otherwise excellent narrative. My playthrough of Firewatch lasted only a handful of hours, but its well-realized characters and gorgeous environment left a lasting impression. It tells a story of loss, loneliness, and responsibility that I think everyone ought to experience. It's available now for PC and PlayStation, but the experience can also be simulated by ruining your life and running away to the woods to feel sorry for yourself. Thanks for watching Button Bash.
Some guy? Wait, he's looking at you? Is he doing anything else?
I don't think so.
Henry, there's something someone should have told you about this area.
What is it?
It's outside.
Come on.
The whole thing. And people come and go as they please. It's madness.